Yes, I'm back with another fantastic session. This is Santosh Sahu and you are watching Sahu's tutorial. Here, I'm conducting 1000 MCQ series on English literature for the upcoming UGC NET exam, and this is the first video of this series. Watch the video till the end because it is going to be a fruitful session, very informative session, because in this video I've discussed many important works, many important authors. I've also discussed some lesser known works but important from the perspective of the exam. So I am also hoping to upload videos on UGC NET paper 1. So stay tuned with me with my channel, that is Sahu's tutorial, and because you will get everything, and I hope that this question will boost your confidence. It will help you to prepare in a better manner. So here is the first question on your screen. Let's begin the session with this wonderful question, that is Leonel Trilling asserts that a sense of the past is necessary. A sense of the past is necessary to read literature. Otherwise, one would be like a Partridge at the play, wholly without the historical sense. Partridge at the play is connected to which work? To which work? Oliver Twist, Paradise Lost, Tom Jones, Wuthering Heights. So the right answer of this question is it is Tom Jones. So Partridge and the play is connected with Tom Jones, and Tom Jones is written by Henry Fielding. Henry Fielding. So it's a Pickwick's. So look at here, that is a Bildungsroman as well as a Pickwick's novel. The history of Tom Jones. It's a foundling, often known simply as Tom Jones, is a comic novel by English playwright, the novelist Henry Fielding. It is a Bildungsroman novel as well as a Pickwick's novel. He's a rogue hero. He's a rogue hero, Tom Jones. It is the earliest novel mentioned by William Somerset Maugham in his 1948 book, that is The Great Novelist and Their Novelists. So who is the author of the book, that is The Great Novelist and Their Novels? It is William Somerset Maugham, among the 10 best novels of the world. So it is one of the 10 best novels of the world it was told by whom? It was told by William Somerset Maugham in his book, that is Great Novelist and Their Novels. Here, look at here, the Samuel Taylor Coleridge, there is the novel is highly organized despite it is highly organized, okay, despite its length. Samuel Taylor Coleridge argued that it has one of the 3 most perfect plots. So 3 most perfect plots ever planned. One is Oedipus Tyrannus, and another is The Alchemist and Tom Jones. So one each, that is you have Oedipus Tyrannus, one, and second number is The Alchemist, and third is the Tom Jones. So these are the most perfect plots ever planned. It is according to Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Okay, now move to the next slide here. Dash is not a character in Jane Austen's Emma. Dash is not a character in Jane Austen's Emma. So Catherine Morland, George Knightley, Harriet Smith, Frank Churchill. So all these 3, that is George Knightley, Harriet Smith, Frank Churchill, are characters from the novel Emma, but Catherine Morland doesn't appear in the novel Emma. Catherine Morland is a character in Northanger Abbey. So who just published with Persuasion posthumously. Let's look at the slide here. Northanger Abbey is a coming of age novel which is a satire as well, satire of Gothic novels. Northanger Abbey is a coming of age novel, is a satire of Gothic novels written by Jane Austen. Austen was also influenced by, when she was Charlotte Lennox, the female Quixote. Charlotte Lennox, okay, the female Quixote. Northanger Abbey was completed in 1803, the first of Austen's novels completed in full, but it was published posthumously in 1817 along with Persuasion. So another novel, that was Persuasion. So it was published Northanger Abbey, and Persuasion was published in the year 1817, but Northanger Abbey was completed in the year 1803. The story concerns the heroine, that is the Catherine Morland, the naive young protagonist, and her journey to a better understanding of herself and of the world around her. how Catherine views the world has been distorted by her fondness for the Gothic novels and an active imagination. So Northanger Abbey is a satire on Gothic novels. It's a coming of story. Jane Austen was also influenced by the female quixote by Charlotte Lennox. Okay, and it was published posthumously in the year 1817 along with the publications of Persuasion. So Catherine Mullen is a heroine of the novel that is Northanger Abbey. Okay, now move to the next slide here. In which year the 7 types of ambiguity. 7 types of ambiguity. This is a book by Williamson. Williamson is a new critic. Okay, so a new critic, and his book that is seven types of ambiguity. His book that is 7 types of ambiguity was published in the year, in which year? 1917, 1930, 1935, 1922. So it was 1930. 7 types of ambiguity. The book was published in 1930 by the new critic Williamson. Williamson has also written another famous book that is Milton's Gods. That is Milton's God, where he is defending Milton's Paradise Lost. Where is defending Milton's Paradise Lost. So Milton's Ghost was written by the new critic Williamson, and 7 types of ambiguity was published in the year 1930. Okay, so Milton, look at here, that is Milton's God. Milton's God is often described as a sustained attack on Christianity. So he was attacking on Christianity by this book, that is Milton's God, but it is a defense. It is a kind of defense, okay, of Milton's attempt to justify the ways of God. This is the opening line of that epic. Justify the ways of God to man in Paradise Lost. So he was here defending Milton's attempt to justify the ways of God to man in Paradise Lost. So Milton's God was written by the new critic Williamson. Okay, so who said that? Now the next question: who said the Emerson 7? Let's move to the yes. It's question number 3. Who said that Emerson 7 types of ambiguity? 7 types of ambiguity, 7 that is published in the 1930, has become a part of the furniture of any good English or American critic's mind. Okay, so Milton's 7 types of Emerson's 7 types of ambiguity has become a part of the furniture of any good English or American critic's mind. So it was it T.S. Eliot, Harold Bloom, map of misreading, who is famous for map of misreading, T.S. Eliot, M.H. Abrams, G.S. Fraser. So it was, the right answer was G.S. Fraser. G.S. Fraser has remarked that 7 types of ambiguity has become part of the furniture of any good English or American critic's mind. So G.S. Fraser is the right answer. So okay, now move to the next slide. Look at here, that is poet and scholar and critic Sir William Gibson was a massive literary figure of his time, one who revolutionized our ways of reading a poem. In the words of London Times, okay, the school of literary criticism known as new criticism gained important support from Gibson's 7 types of ambiguity, and its subtitle is a study of its effects on English verse. So what was the subtitle of Milton's 7 types of Gibson's 7 types of ambiguity? It was a study of its effect on English verse. This work together with this other publication essay has become part of the furniture of any good English or American critic's mind, was told by G.S. Fraser. He remarks in his book, that is Great Writers of the English Language. And so this was the book where J.S. Fraser has remarked this statement, that the great writers of English language poets. Great writers of English language poets. So it was written by J.S. Fraser. Okay, now move to the next slide. That is, yes, yeah, it is not responding. Okay, yes. So who is not regarded as a Georgian poet? Who is not regarded as a Georgian poet? Who is not regarded? Hopkins, Davies, Walter de la Mare, John Masefield. So these three, that is Davies, Walter de la Mare, they all belong to the category of Georgian poet, whereas Hopkins does not belong. So Hopkins is the right answer. Okay, who is not regarded? Hopkins is not a Georgian poet. Look at here. The next here, that Georgian poetry refers to the series of anthologies showcasing the work of school of English poetry that established itself during the years of George V of UK. And the Georgian poets were, by the strictest definition, those whose works appeared in a series of 5 anthologies named Georgian Poetry, published by Harold Munro and edited by Edward Marsh. And these groups include what? These groups included Blunden, Edmund Blunden, Rupert Brooke, Robert Graves, D.H. Lawrence. D.H. Lawrence also belongs to this category, belongs to this poetry, that is Georgian poetry. D.H. Lawrence, Walter de la Mare, Siegfried Sassoon, the bird poet, John Masefield, and John Drinkwater. So John Masefield, John Drinkwater, Siegfried Sassoon, Walter de la Mare, D.H. Lawrence, Robert Graves, Rupert Brooke, and Benton. So these were all poets belong to the Georgian poetry. Yeah. Now move to the next slide. Who wrote Absalom and Epsilon, the novel? Absalom and Epsilon was written by Dryden, Dr. Johnson, William Faulkner, Fitzgerald. So it was Absalom. Epsilon is a novel written by William Faulkner, the American novelist. William Faulkner wrote the novel, that is Absalom and Epsilon. Okay, here Epsilon is a novel by American author William Faulkner, first published in the year 1936, taking place before, during, and after the American Civil War. So it was the setting was before, after, and during the American Civil War. It is a story about the three families of the American South, with the focus on the life of Thomas Sutpen. So the protagonist was Thomas Sutpen. So Epsilon's protagonist was Thomas Sutpen. So based on Thomas Sutpen's life story. So Epsilon is a novel written by William Faulkner, the American famous novelist. Okay, the next slide here. Who among the following introduced sonnets? So Thomas Wade, Philip Sidney, Shakespeare, Spenser. So it was Thomas Wade who introduced sonnets. So very easy. Okay, now move to the next slide here. Question number 9. John Ruskin dealt with architecture, the style and the society, clouds, mountains, and plants. So all these three is okay. John Ruskin deal with architecture, the style and the society, the clouds and mountains and plants, all these three. Okay, so all these three is the right answer. So John Ruskin deal with all these three. Okay, now move to the next question. Bliss was that. Bliss was it in that dawn. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. So bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. What do these lines of Wordsworth suggests? About the childhood, about the French Revolution, about the old age? None of these. So bliss was it in the dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. So here in these lines, Wordsworth is suggesting about the French Revolution. So option number B is the right answer. He was talking about the French Revolution. Okay. I see in Wordsworth the natural man. In Wordsworth, he sees what? The natural man rising up against the spiritual man. Natural man is rising against the spiritual man continually, and then he is no poet but a philosopher. He is no poet but a philosopher, at enmity against all the true poetry or inspiration. Who said these lines? William Blake, Coleridge, Hazlitt, none of this. So this was remarked by William Blake. William Blake told this line. So William Blake, 11A is the right answer. William Blake told this. Remark this. Who said about Wordsworth as follows? Okay. Who said about Wordsworth? किसने बोला था Wordsworth के बारे में? His poetry is the reality. His poetry is the reality. His philosophy is the illusion. His poetry is the reality, whereas his philosophy is the illusion. Illusion. Who told this line? T.S. Eliot, John Ruskin, Matthew Arnold, none of these. So it was told by Arnold. Arnold was remarking, has remarked this line on Wordsworth, that his poetry is the reality and his philosophy is the illusion. So 12C is the right answer. Okay. Now move to question number 13. Now Shelley was expelled from the University College. Okay, University College, Oxford, because of his what? Because of which book? Okay, Shelley was expelled from the university for which book? That is Prometheus Unbound, The Necessity of Atheism, Queen Mab, Alistair. So it was the Necessity of Atheism. When he wrote this poem, he was expelled from the University of College. So B is the right answer here. The Necessity of Atheism is the right answer. Okay. 14. Hopkins sprung rhythm. Hopkins sprung rhythm is one that contains specific number of stressed syllables and varying number of unstressed ones, and called so for it runs like a coach of the spring. So Hopkins sprung rhythm. So this is true as well. So both A and B is the right answer. So one that contains specific number of stressed syllables and varying number of unstressed ones, called so because it runs like a coach of the spring. Okay, now move to question number 15. Who said that geography is about maps? Geography is about maps, but biography is about chaps. Okay. Geography is about maps, whereas biography is about chaps. Ogden, Nash, E.C. Bentley, E.E. Cummings, Hilary Belloc. So it was told by E.C. Bentley. E.C. Bentley told that geography is about maps, but biography is about chaps. Now move to question number 16. Yeah, New Testament has 27 books, 29 books, 31 books, 33. So New Testament has 27 books. And I hope that you are liking the videos. Please hit the like button and do not forget to subscribe my channel and share with your friends. Tap the bell icon to get more notifications about the videos because more videos are coming soon. So stay tuned with my channel. Okay, now move to the question number 17. Who is the author of the book of Human Bondage? Of Human Bondage, Charles Dickens, Somerset Maugham, Jane Austen, D.S. Lawrence. So this is a novel of Human Bondage. Of Human Bondage, it was written by Somerset Maugham. So B is the right answer here. So B. So Somerset Maugham wrote of Human Bondage. Let's look at this slide. Of Human Bondage is a 1915 novel by William Somerset Maugham. The novel is generally agreed to be Maugham's masterpiece and to be strongly autobiographical in nature. So this is a novel, but he stated that this is a novel, not an autobiography, though much in it is autobiographical. More is pure invention. So Maugham, who had originally planned to call his novel Beauty from Ashes, so he has planned he has planned to call his novel as Beauty from Ashes. Beauty from Ashes finally settled on a title taken from a section of Spinoza's Ethics. The modern library ranked of Human Bondage number 65 on its list of the 100 best English language novels of the 20th century. So, Of Human Bondage is a famous novel written by William Somerset Maugham and it's published in the year 1915. So, he said that this is a novel, not an autobiography. Though much in it is autobiographical, more is pure invention. So, he said that. So, and the first title that he was planning to settle was Beauty from Ashes. So, Of Human Bondage was written by William Somerset Maugham. Okay, now to the next question. Question number 18. Who is the author of the book A Brief History of Time? A Brief History of Time. Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, Newton, Chadwick. So, A Brief History of Time was written by Stephen Hawking. So, A is the right answer here. Stephen Hawking. Okay. The Moon and Sixpence. The Moon and Sixpence is a novel by. The Moon and Sixpence is a novel by William Somerset Maugham. The Moon and Sixpence is a novel by William Somerset Maugham, George Orwell, Walter Scott, and Oscar Wilde. The Moon and Sixpence is a novel by William Somerset Maugham. So here 19A is the right answer. Okay. Now move to question number 20. What is the book Lord of the Flies is about? Lord of the Flies is about William Golding. Famous novel Lord of the Flies is about a round trip around the USA, a swarm of killer flies, schoolboys on the desert island, none of the above. So Lord of the Flies is about schoolboys on the desert island. Schoolboys on the desert island. So what is the book The Lord of the Flies about? Lord of the Flies is about schoolboys on the desert island. It was published in the year 1953, probably 1953. Yeah, 1954. Yeah, 1954. Lord of the Flies is a 1954 novel by the Nobel Prize winning British author William Golding. The plot concerns a group of British boys. Yeah, it was hanging. Let's wait for it. Let's wait. Yeah, a group of British boys who are stranded on an uninhabited island and their disastrous attempts to govern themselves. Okay, the themes include the tension between group thing and individuality, between rational as well as emotional reactions, and between morality and immorality. So the concept arose. So this is important that the concept arose after Golding read what he deemed to be an unrealistic portrayal of stranded children in the youth novel, that is the Ballantyne's, R.M. Ballantyne's The Coral Island. The Coral Island. When he had read that novel, that is the Coral Island, A Tale of the Pacific Ocean, that was published in the year 1857. It was written by R.M. Ballantyne, and that book had inspired William Golding to write The Lord of the Flies. It was published in the year 1954, and William Golding is a Nobel Prize winning British author. So Lord of the Flies is about it's very important novel from the perspective of the exam. So let's move to the next question. Next slide. Who wrote the famous 1854 poem, The Charge of the Light? The Charge of the Light Brigade. It was Lord Alfred Tennyson, Christopher Marlowe, Johannes Gutenberg, René Descartes. So it was Lord Alfred Tennyson. Lord Alfred Tennyson had written the poem that is The Charge of the Light Brigade. Okay, now move to the next question, question number 22. With which knight did Queen Guinevere fell in love in Tennyson's Passing of Arthur? With which knight did Queen Guinevere fell in love in Tennyson's Passing of Arthur? Tristram, Lancelot, Galahad, Bedware. So it was Lancelot. So option number B is the right answer. Guinevere fell in love in Tennyson's Passing of Arthur. It is Lancelot is the right answer. Question 22 का B right answer है. Okay. Who is the author of the Strange Case of Billy Whispers? Strange Case of Billy Whispers. Chaman Nahal, that is who wrote Azadi, Arun Joshi, Namita Gokhale, Raja Rao. So, Strange Case of Billy Whispers was written by the existentialist writer, that is Arun Joshi. Arun Joshi has written the novel that is the Strange Case of Billy Whispers, the existential writer, Indian existential writer. 24. Friends, our dear sister is departing for foreign in 2-3 days. Friends, our dear sister is departing for foreign in 2-3 days. Is written by whom? KK and Darubala, Shiv K. Kumar, Nije Magical, Gip Patel. So it was written by Nije Magical. KK and Darubala's famous poetry collection is Under Orion. KK Darwala. Okay, so here this line was spoken by Nizam Ezekiel. So option number C is the right answer here. Nizam Ezekiel. C here. Nizam Ezekiel is the right answer. Okay, move to the question number 25. Goodbye Party for Miss T. Puspa. In this line, where this is the poem where Nizam Ezekiel and Goodbye Party for Miss Puspa T.S. Friends, this is the opening line. Friends, let's erase it. Okay. This is the name of the poem, that is Goodbye Party for Miss Puspa T.S. And in this poem, these were the opening line. Friends, our dear sister is departing for foreign in 2-3 days. And we are meeting today to wish her bon voyage. So this was written by Nizam Ezekiel. So this was the poem where this line appears. Okay, now move to question number 25. Which author frequently refused royalty payment? Who refused royalty payment as he wrote for glory? It was Byron, Keats. Was it Byron, Keats, Tennyson, Shelley? So it was Byron. Byron often frequently refused royalty payments as he wrote for glory. So it was Byron is the right answer. Now move to next question number 26. Which is Kushban Singh's last novel? Kushban Singh's last novel is was it Delhi, I Shall Not Hear the Nightingale, Train to Pakistan, and India. So Kushban Singh's last novel was Delhi. So A is the right answer. Train to Pakistan has it has 4 parts. It has 4 parts. It has 4 parts. Train to Pakistan. Okay. Now move to the next question here. Question number 27. Which Walt Whitman's mourning? Walt Whitman is mourning in the poem "Oh Captain, my Captain." Oh Captain, my Captain. Walt Whitman, the father of free verse in American literature. The father of free verse. Walt Whitman is called the father of free verse in American literature. Father of free verse in American literature. Father of free verse in American literature is Walt Whitman, and he has written a poem that is "Oh Captain, my Captain." In that poem, okay, he was mourning for whom? Washington Irving, Emerson, Shelley, Lincoln. So it was Abraham Lincoln. So option number D is the right answer. Okay. Now move to question 28. Who is John Keats' first poem? Which is John Keats' first poem? When I have here, stopping by woods, daffodils, on first looking into Chapman's Homer. So this is the right one. That is on first looking into Chapman's Homer. On first looking into Chapman's Homer was the first poem written by the romantic poet John Keats. Question number 29. What is Milton's Areopagitica? Milton's Areopagitica is a sonnet, epic, a plea for the freedom of press, a play. So Areopagitica is a plea for the freedom of press. So it was option number C is the right answer. Okay. Now to question number 30. Who was Tennyson's friend on whose death in memoriam Tennyson spent कौन था? Who was Tennyson spent on whose death in memoriam was conceived? In memoriam was composed Shelley, Keats, Arthur Henry Hallam, Browning. So in memoriam was composed in the memory of Tennyson's friend, that is Arthur Henry Hallam. So option number C is the right answer here. Arthur Henry Hallam. Okay, now move to question number 32. 32. Elements of semiology. Elements of semiology is a work by Roland Barthes. He is a structuralist as well as a post-structuralist. Roland Barthes, Saussure, structuralist. Derrida, post-structuralist. Deconstruction, Derrida's deconstruction, sorry, who coined the term aporia, and John Searle. So Roland Barthes is a structuralist as well as post-structuralist. Yeah, but Roland Barthes, Saussure, structuralist, and Derrida, the deconstruction. So Elements of Semiology is a work by Roland Barthes. Elements of Semiology is a work by Roland Barthes. So it was written by Roland Barthes. Okay, now question 33. Who developed a formalist approach to Saussure's structuralist theories? A formalist approach to structuralist theories of Saussure is based on work is Prolegomena to a Theory of Language, which was expanded in Resume of the Theory of Language, a formal development of glossmatics. So glossmatics is scientific calculus of language. So glossmatics. So and the famous book is Prolegomena to a Theory of Language. Who is the author of this work? Charles W. Morris, Louis Helmslov, George Herbert Mead, Carnap. So it is Louis Helmslov is the right answer here. His theory, that is his invention, that is glossmatics, and his famous work, that is Prolegomena to a Theory of Language. So option B is the right answer. Question 34. A Theory of Symmetics. So the first one was Elements of Semiology, was written by Roland Barthes, but A Theory of Symmetics is a book by Umberto Eco, Paul Boisseaux, Barthes, A.D. Willett. So it was written by Umberto Eco. Umberto Eco is the right answer. Umberto Eco is the right answer. A Theory of Symmetics. Okay, his dark materials. His dark materials is a phrase coined by Milton. Milton has coined a phrase, that is his dark materials. Who is the author of the novel with the same title? Aldous Huxley, Conrad, Philip Pullman, and D.S. Lawrence. So his dark materials is a trilogy, one of the trilogy written by Philip Pullman. So Philip Pullman has written the novel, that is his dark materials. This phrase was also coined by Milton. Let's look here that his Dark Materials is a trilogy of fantasy novels by Philip Pullman that has consisting Northern Lights. So 3 books, that is Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, The Amber Spyglass. The Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, The Amber Spyglass. It follows coming of age of 2 children, that is Lyra Bellacue and Will Perry, as they wander through a series of parallel universes. So his Dark Materials is a trilogy of fantasy novels, and those novels are Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, The Amber Spyglass, and it was written by Philip Pullman. Okay, now move to the next slide here. Question number 36. Slowly the poison, the whole blood stream plies. Slowly the poison, the whole blood stream fills. It is not the effort nor the failure tires. So slowly the poison, the whole blood stream fills. It is not the effort nor the failure tires. The waste remains and kills. Which work by Emerson contains these lines? Dates, missing dates, let it go, and villanelle. Dates, missing dates, let it go, and villanelle. So right option here is missing dates. So B is the right answer here. So B is the right answer here, missing dates. Okay. Now move to question number 37. The lives of which of the following writers has been the subject matter of novels by Anthony Burgess? So the lives of which of the following writers has been the subject matter? Milton, Shelley, Marlowe, Keats. Milton, Shelley. So Anthony Burgess has written on Marlowe, that is a dead man in Devonport. Keats, Abba, and for Shakespeare he has written Nothing Like Sun. So here B and D is the right answer. That is B and D. So 4 is the right answer here. For Marlowe's he has written a dead man in Devonport. A dead man in Devonport. And for Keats he read Abba, that is Abba. And for Shakespeare And for Shakespeare, he has written nothing like sun. Nothing like the sun. Okay, for Shakespeare, he has written nothing like the sun. And for Keats, Abba, and for Marlowe, a dead man in Devonport. Okay. Yeah, okay. Here you look at here that Anthony Burgess is one of the most prolific literary figures of the 20th century, producing a large number of novels, plays and biographies, screenplays, criticism and articles. He wrote novels based on the lives of the poets. His novel, that is Nothing Like the Sun, his novel Nothing Like the Sun is based on Shakespeare. A Dead Man in Deptford is about Christopher Marlowe, whereas he wrote a novel about the last months of John Keats called Abba, that was published in the year 1977. Abba means father. The words Abba appear on Burgess' gravestone also. So the word Abba, that is father, also appears in Anthony Burgess' gravestone also. And he has written also the verse novel Byron, was published posthumously. His verse novel is Byron, that was published posthumously. Okay. Question number 38. Which play of Ibsen was made into film by Satyajit Ray? Which play of Ibsen was made into a film by Satyajit Ray? A Dollhouse, An Enemy of the People, Ghost, The Master. So it was Ibsen's An Enemy of the People. An Enemy of the People was made into a film by Satyajit Ray. So option B is the right answer. Okay, here is the look at here. An enemy of the people, speaking the language of comic exaggeration through the mouth of his spokesperson. Who was the spokesperson of Ibsen? It was Thomas Stockman, the idealist Dr. Thomas Stockman. It concerned the action of Dr. Thomas Stockman, a medical officer who was in the charge of inspecting a public baths, and that water was contaminated, on which the prosperity of his native town depends, and he was raising voice against the contaminated water. He finds the water to be contaminated. When he refuses to be silenced, okay, he is declared an enemy of the people. So when he was raising voice against this contaminated water, he was declared an enemy by the authority. So he was actually a brave man who tries to do the right thing and amid extreme social intolerance. And it is also a criticism of democracy. It is also a criticism of democracy. So an enemy of the people. Who is an enemy of the people? Thomas Stockman, the doctor, the idealist doctor, is the enemy of the people, and it was declared by the authority when he was raising voice against the contaminated water. So move to the question number 39. William Dunbar's Lament for Maker is Scottish Chaucerians. William Dunbar's the Scottish Chaucerians Lament for the Makers is about a king's priests, poets, and pigeons. So Lament for the Makers is about the poets. So option number C is the right answer here. Now to question number 40. Which of the modern plays by British playwright actually puts Shakespeare as character on stage? Which of the modern plays by Shakespeare by British playwright actually puts Shakespeare as character on stage? Which of the modern plays by British playwright actually puts Shakespeare as character on stage? So it was Edward Bond's Bingo, Harold Pinter's Mountain Language, Terence Nottingham Inspector Calls, or Joe Orton Loot. So it was Edward Bond's Bingo. Edward Bond Bingo was the right answer, where the character Shakespeare appears. Okay. And Bingo's subtitle is Scenes of Money and Death. Bingo, Scenes of Money and Death. Scenes of Money and Death is a 1973 play by the English playwright Edward Bond, and it depicts an aging William Shakespeare at his Warwickshire home in 1615 to 1616, suffering pangs of conscience in part because he signed a contract which protected his land holdings on the condition that he would not interfere with an enclosure of common land that would hurt the local peasant farmers. Although the play is a fictional, this contract has a factual basis. Bingo is a political drama heavily influenced by Bertolt Brecht and epic theater. So this is a political drama. Bingo, Scenes of Money and Death, written by Edward Bond. So where the character Shakespeare appears. Okay, now move to the next slide. So when the last and dreadful hour, this crumbling peasant shall devour, the trumpet shall be heard on high, the dead shall live, the living die, and music shall untune the sky. These are the closing lines of famous poem. Identify the poem. So when the last and dreadful hour, this crumbling peasant shall devour, the trumpet shall be heard on high, the dead shall live, and the living die. and music shall untune in the sky, and the music shall untune the sky. These are the closing lines of famous poem identified, that is Elpenison. So the companion song for Saint Cecilia's Day, the good morrow, sung the year at the spring. So these were the ending line, the closing lines of of sung for Saint Cecilia's days, sung for Saint Cecilia's days, Saint Cecilia's days. So option B is the right answer here. So here look at it, is written by the poet laureate Dryden. A song for Saint Cecilia's Day is the first of two odes written by English poet laureate John Dryden for the annual festival of Saint Cecilia's Days, observed in London over 22 November from 1683 to 703. The ode was sponsored by the Musical Society of London and twice set to music. So, A Song for Saint Cecilia's Day is the first two odes written by the poet laureate John Dryden. In which book Paradise Lost, does Milton use the phrase human face device? Human face divine. In which book of Paradise Lost does Milton use the phrase human face divine? Book 1, okay, book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. Look at here, there is a clue to remember. Human face divine. So one word human face, one word divine, one word. So it has three words. So three word, three book 3. So it is, here is a clue to remember, that is human face divine. It has three words. So and in which book Paradise Lost does this phrase appear? In book 3. So here book 3 is the right answer. Human face divine. This phrase appears in book 3 of Paradise Lost, written by Milton. Move to question number 43. So who wrote the Confession of Sultana Daku? The Confession of Sultana Daku, a historical novel, was written by whom? Arun Joshi, Mahesh Dattani, Sujit Saraf, Meena Alexander. So this was written by none other than Sujit Saraf. The Confession of Sultana Daku. Okay. Move to question number 44. In which poem does the following line occur? The world is poisoned at the heart. It is very famous. It is very lesser known thing. The world is poisoned at the heart. So Wasteland, El Penicerso, Dover Beach by Arnold, The Borderers by Wordsworth. So this phrase, this sentence appear in the verse tragedy, the only verse tragedy written by Wordsworth, that is The Borderer. The Borderer is a lesser known work of Wordsworth. The Borderers. Okay, the Borderers. So in this verse tragedy, it appears the world is poisoned at the heart. Wordsworth's Borderers comes under the category of verse tragedy, epic poem, prose tragedy. So Wordsworth's The Borderers is a verse tragedy. It is a 5-act verse tragedy. It has 5 acts. 5 acts verse tragedy. The Borderers, Wordsworth. The Borderers is a tragedy in 5 acts, was Wordsworth's first major work. In the course of its composition, he moved toward his later blank verse style, and the themes that dominate the ruined cottage and the peddler. Ruined cottage and the peddler. So the Borderers is a tragedy in 5 acts written by William Wordsworth. Okay, move to question number 46. In which poem do the following lines occur? Behold her bosom and half her sight, a sight to dream of, not to tell. So it was, these lines appear in which of the poem? In which of the following poem? Keats's Eve of St. Agnes, Keats' Lamia, Coleridge's Christabel, and Wordsworth's Lucy Gray. Keats' Eve of St. Agnes, Keats' Lamia, Coleridge Christabel, Wordsworth Lucy Gray. So these lines appear in Coleridge Christabel. So Coleridge Christabel is the right answer here. And Christabel is a long narrative ballad by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. The first part was reputedly written in 1797, whereas the second part was written in 1800. Coleridge wanted to complete, but he planned 3 additional parts, but these were never completed. So Christabel, written by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, it has 2 parts. Which Indian publisher, question number 47, which Indian publisher did commence the publication of series of modern Indian novels in English translation in the year 1996, and by 2003 it had published 80 of repute from almost all Indian language. Asia Publishing House, that was first conducted commenced in 1996. First commenced in 1996. It was a publication of series of modern Indian novels, and by 2003 it had published 80 of repute from almost all Indian languages. Asia Publishing House, Macmillan India, Jaiko, Arnold Henneman. So it was Macmillan India. So option number B is the right answer. Okay, now move to 48. Who is the writer of the novel To Have and Have Not? To Have and Have Not. Ernest Hemingway, Arthur Miller, John Stenberg, William Tennessee. Sorry, it was Tennessee Williams. Look back here, Tennessee Williams. So Ernest Hemingway, Arthur Miller, John Stenberg. So To Have and Have Not, this novel was written by Ernest Hemingway. So A is the right answer here. Ernest Hemingway is the right answer. To Have or Have Not was written by Ernest Hemingway. Look at here, that is John Mulligan, the New Zealand writer, the New Zealand novelist John Mulligan took the title of his novel Man Alone, 1930, Man Alone. So John Mulligan has written the novel, that is Man Alone, who is a New Zealand novelist, from a line in Ernest Hemingway's To Have or Have Not. So To Have and Have Not, written by Hemingway, and from this novel John Mulligan, the New Zealand novelist, has taken a line for his novel, that is Man Alone, that was published in the year 1939. Okay, now move to question number 49. So who is the author of the novel The Grapes of Wrath? The Grapes of Wrath. John Stenbeck, William Faulkner, Hemingway, Carey Hume. Who is the author of the novel Grapes of Wrath? So the Grapes of Wrath was written by the American novelist, that is John Stenbeck. John Stenbeck is the author of The Grapes of Wrath. So 49 ka A is the right answer. Look at here, that is The Grapes of Wrath is an American realist novel written by John Stenbeck, published in the year 1939. The book won the National Book Award and Pulitzer Prize as well. It was cited also prominently when Stenbeck was awarded the Nobel Prize in the year 1962. And it was said during the Great Depression. The novel focuses on the Jotes family. Jotes, Tom Jones is the protagonist here. On the Jotes family, a poor family of the tenant farmers driven from the Oklahoma home by drought, economic hardship, agricultural industry change, and bank foreclosures, forcing tenant farmers out of work. And due to their nearly hopeless situation, and in part because they are trapped in Dust Bowl, the Jotes set out for California along with thousands of other Okies seeking job, land, dignity, and a future. So it was Jotes family. The Grapes of Wrath was written by John Stenbeck. And question number 50 here. Whose names are unknown? Whose names are unknown is a novel written in 1930s but not published until 2004. Who is the author of this novel? Whose names are unknown? John Stenbeck, William Faulkner, Sonora Babb, Eleanor Caton. Eleanor Caton is the second New Zealand writer to win Booker Prize. First was Carey Hume and second was Eleanor Caton. Eleanor Caton got the Booker Prize for her novel The Luminaries. The Luminaries. Okay, so she got the Booker Prize, who is a New Zealand writer. She is the second one to receive the Booker Prize, Eleanor Caton, and she has received the Booker Prize for her novel The Luminaries. And Sonora Babb has written whose names are unknown. So option C is the right answer here. Sonora Babb is the right answer here. Sonora Babb is the right answer. So whose names are unknown, written by whom? Sonora Babb. And here, that is Eleanor Caton is the second New Zealand writer to win the Booker Prize for her novel The Luminaries. Okay, and John Stenbeck has written The Grapes of Wrath. He has also been awarded with the Nobel Prize, the famous American novelists. So these were 50. Look at here. Whose names are unknown is an American novel by Sonora Babb, written in 1930s but not published until 2004. It centers on members of High Plains farm farm family during the Great Depression. As they endure the poverty inflicted by drought and the Dust Bowl, they ultimately flee to California in the hopes of building a better life, but encounter a new set of hardship eventually even there. So these were 50 questions I have discussed. In the next video, we will discuss another 50 questions. Stay tuned with SAHOO's tutorial, and thank you once again for watching this video. And do not forget to subscribe my channel SAHOO's tutorial. And stay tuned with me because videos on paper 1 is also coming on. Thank you.